Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. You are listening to the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, on Spreaker.com. I hope y'all had a great day today. I hope your week is going to go better. Tomorrow is hump day. And it's all downhill from there. Literally, all downhill from there. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, on the on the tracking system we call Facebook. You know, I'm going to put this out here, and frankly, I don't really care anymore. If they're monitoring us and monitoring this show and this network and all of that, and they're looking for little things to just say, yes, let's go get it, whatever. Let me tell you something. You know, if they're listening to this, my message to the New World Order is this. You lose. Believe me, there's a hell of a lot more people that are against you than are for you. Believe it. Yeah, who cares? 56 or 53% of the American people, Democrats, want socialism. Yeah, tells you how stupid they really are. What? Anyway, I'll get into that later. So, you're going to lose. That's just the way it is. Get over it. Go home. Bye-bye. Stick your tail between your legs and go back under the rock you came out from under. You and your David Rockefeller followers. You and your Bilderberg followers. You're going to lose. Period. End of sentence. You don't like it? Do something about it. Okay? Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, don't sing it, bring it. And apparently they are. Apparently they are. In Texas, TSA is going to be out on the streets. Oh, they're going to be in checkpoints. They're going to be in sobriety checkpoints, making sure. No. They're going to violate your Fourth Amendment right. They're going to, they're just going to get all over you. Okay? That's just the way it is. Okay? Now, whether or not you believe that, not my problem. My suggestion to you is you better go out and check this stuff out yourself. Seriously. Seriously. That's all you got, man. That's all you got. All right? Don't believe the mainstream media. They're liars. They're biological androids. They're never going to tell you the truth. Never. Okay? It all goes back to the 40s and 50s. Go check it out. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. Hey, we're going to take a little break, the first break of the night. We shall return. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook and check things out. Shall you, please? Thank you. Like the page. I shall return right after this.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hoedown. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
We are back. This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for Tuesday, the 4th of December, 2012. We have 17 days left. Yeah, if you believe that Mayan bullcrap. I'm just saying, some people believe it, some people don't. I happen not to believe it. It's just one of those things, okay? Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Like the page, if you would, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. There is a picture up there, and I just talked about this before the first break. Deputy Police Chief calls for permanent DWI checkpoints in Texas. Constitutional rights deemed inferior to saving lives. Paul Joseph Watson from Infowars.com put this up. The Deputy Police Chief in South Texas wants to set up quote-unquote permanent DWI checkpoints in order to quote-unquote save lives, raising the possibility that Texans could be forced to show their papers, submit to breathalyzer tests, or even be mandated to have blood drawn whenever they drive down the street. Yeah. Quote, San Antonio Police Department Chief Antonio Trevino appeared Monday in Austin before the Texas House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee, unquote, reports KHOU. Quote, the San Antonio Express News reports Trevino urged legislators to allow law officers to stop drivers and do routine sobriety tests near so-called drinking and driving, quote, hotspots, unquote. He says local data could be used to identify areas where such behavior is prevalent, unquote. Jim Harrington of the Texas Civil Rights Project opposed the idea, saying sobriety checkpoints allow for police abuse of power. The measure is expected to be debated by legislators in January. The notion of permanent DWI checkpoints where police can pull over any vehicle at any time under the justification of catching drunk drivers is anathema to the Fourth Amendment, which protects, quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, effects, and against unreasonable searches and seizures, unquote. Given the fact that San Antonio is one of a number of cities across the country which enforces no refusal, that's in quotes, blood draws against people police suspect of driving under the influence, Texans could find themselves with a needle stuck in their arm simply for exercising their right to mobility. Let me read that again, because it's very important. Plus, I butchered the paragraph. Given the fact that San Antonio is one of the number of cities across the country which enforces, quote, no refusal, unquote, blood draws against people police suspect of driving under the influence, Texans could find themselves with a needle stuck in their arm simply for exercising their right to mobility. Attorney Jamie Balagia has described the blood draw controversy as, quote, ridiculous trampling of our Constitution, unquote, labeling it, quote, un-American, unquote. Although America is referred to as the land of the free, it is increasingly being littered with checkpoints that are remodeling the country into something more akin to the Soviet Union than the bastion of liberty. The ACLU has dubbed the 100-mile area inland from the border. Get this. I just had to read that. Sorry. The ACLU has dubbed a 100-mile area inland from the border as the Constitution-free zone, noting that 2 out of 3 Americans live within this buffer zone, around 190 million people in total. Americans in these areas are forced to answer questions when they drive through Border Patrol checkpoints. Many are standing up for their Fourth Amendment rights by refusing to answer such questions. The TSA has also announced that it will conduct security assessments on highways, having already set up checkpoints on interstate roads in Tennessee last year. The federal agency was responsible for over 9,000 checkpoints across the United States in 2011. Now, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Look at your city, look at your county, and ask yourself, what would I do if I knew that there was a checkpoint in my town? Oh, and by the way, I read an article about a month or so ago where a person, actually the picture was on Facebook, so I read the article associated with it, about a person who was maybe 4 or 5 blocks away around the corner with a sign or something of that nature. It was that far away, telling drivers, don't go down this street, there's a checkpoint. This person was arrested for expressing his First Amendment right of free speech. He was, in fact, in my opinion, telling people of a danger down the road. Now, I use that term loosely, danger. I use that word loosely. Was he impeding upon the process of law enforcement in that checkpoint? Was he impeding their work? No. He was advising others, here's where a checkpoint is. You decide whether or not you want to drive down there. I don't know what the outcome of the arrest was, or if he was let out on bail, but there's a number of stories like that. So if you have one, send that to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Now, I don't know. I'm rattling it around my head. I don't know how to put this to you. I don't know how to approach this. But from WashingtonTimes.com, an article written by David Sherfinsky. Thank you, David. The article headline is Change on Veterans' Gun Rights Lights Fire. Coburn wants decisions by judge rather than VA for impaired troops. A major defense spending bill hit an unexpected bump on its journey through the U.S. Senate over an amendment on veterans' gun rights, which devolved into a heated floor debate and foreshadows a potential battle over Democrats' vows to tweak the filibuster rules in the clubby, traditional collegial body. Senator Tom Coburn, Oklahoma Republican, wants veterans who have been deemed mentally incompetent to have their cases adjudicated by a judge rather than the Department of Veteran Affairs, as happens currently, and argued that veterans who simply cannot support themselves financially are needlessly given the label and, as such, cannot buy or possess firearms. Quote, "We're not asking for anything big," Mr. Coburn said Thursday evening on the Senate floor. We're just saying that if you're going to take away the Second Amendment rights, they ought to have it adjudicated rather than mandated by someone who's unqualified to state that they should lose their rights, unquote. The late-night tussle served to pick at the scab of the ongoing debate over Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid's bid to reform the chamber's filibuster rules to place limits on the minority party's ability to hold up debate on legislation, however. Senator Charles Schumer, New York Democrat, objected to Mr. Coburn's proposal once he found out it was part of a package of amendments to the 2013 National Defense Authorization Act the body was to vote on. Quote, "I love our veterans. I vote for them all the time. They defend us," Mr. Schumer said. But if you are mentally ill, whether you're a veteran or not, just like if you're a felon, if you're a veteran or not, you have been judged to be mentally infirm. You should not have a gun. After a similar plea from Senator Barbara Boxer, California Democrat, and a warning from Senator John McCain, Arizona Republican, that the move could embolden Democrats' push for filibuster reforms, Mr. Coburn eventually backed off. Okay? Are you with me so far? Quote from John McCain. Quote, "There's more here, frankly, than just a refusal to allow an amendment. That is going to mean that it's more likely that we have this showdown, which we think, many of us think, would be devastating to this situation and the way it's done business for a couple of 100 years," unquote. A quarrel over the border bill and a filibuster continued on the Senate floor Monday when Mr. McCain dinged Senator Rand Paul, Kentucky Republican, when he alluded to Mr. Paul's previous threats to filibuster the bill if there was not a vote on an amendment to ensure a trial to American citizen accused of terrorism. That provision was approved by the Senate last week. See all these little sneaky things they put in these articles? Or the things that they find out that they insert in there. Now listen to this again. Let me repeat that, because this is the quarrel over the border bill and the filibuster continued on the Senate floor Monday when Mr. McCain dinged Senator Rand Paul, Kentucky Republican. They're both Republican. Check that out. When he alluded to Mr. Paul's previous threats to filibuster the bill if there was not a vote on an amendment to ensure a trial to American citizens accused of terrorism. That provision was approved by the Senate last week. The measure that sparked last week's late-night imbroglio It's also part of a still pending sportsman's bill that the Senate declined to vote on last week. Similar legislation has been proposed in past years, and a bill introduced by Senator Richard Burr, North Carolina Republican, and Senator Jim Webb, Virginia Democrat, passed the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs unanimously in September. The debate on the measure should not be about gun control, but about veterans' mental health, said Tom Torrentino, Senator, Senior Legislative Associate for Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Quote, if even one person will not go seek the help they need and they fall through the cracks because we failed to remove the mental health stigma as much as possible, then we failed, he said. Right now, what happened is someone pulled the thread of politics in something that should not be political. And that thread's starting to unravel, unquote. But Brian Malte, with the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, said simply that if Mr. Coburn's amendment passes, more than 100,000 people deemed medically incompetent would immediately be able to purchase guns. He also noted that the declaration is not absolute. He says there is due process. Gun possession is allowed if competency is restored. It's up to the professionals to make that determination. In 1993, Brady bill established a 5-day waiting period for handgun purchases, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Enforcement Regulations declared that those deemed mentally defective could not purchase or possess a firearm. The Department of Veteran Affairs forwards the names of those labeled mentally incompetent to the FBI for inclusion in a national federal database, barring them from purchasing or carrying firearms. A couple of things here. First of all, it's good that we weed out these people and they get professional help, because war is hell, period, end of sentence. I know people that have come back from Vietnam, from the Gulf in 91, from this particular incident in the last 9 years, and you will talk to them and they changed. You can talk to their family and their friends, and they will tell you that they are different. They come back, they're not the same. Something mentally is going on, something up there. Okay? So yeah, it's good for these people to get counseling when they're in process, whether it be, wherever it is they're in processed into, or back into the country. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, it's a bad thing because this article it doesn't mention this, but it's a bad thing that the federal government is now declaring, and has declared since 2003. That your veterans, the people, your friends, your family coming back, the federal government is declaring them mentally ill and they cannot own a firearm. Okay? The point is that the federal government is declaring them mentally ill, when I know people who have gotten back who are clear as a bell. I mean, they're not crazy. They're not incompetent, they're not, lunatics, they're not mentally disturbed or disabled in any way, shape, or form. And they're fine, but then there are some who just aren't all there. Okay? The question remains, I would even throw this note out at some of the recruiters of the military. How about checking these people mentally? I know there's a physical ASVAB test down near Fresno. In California. And why don't they test people for mental illness before they go into the military? Because something may have happened to them prior, and then while they were in the military, either shooting at the enemy or whatever, something may have been triggered mentally to where when they get out, do their tour or 2 or 3 different tours, they get out, something outside also triggers it, and that's just a powder keg waiting to go off. Okay? if they are mentally ill and disturbed and have a mental disorder before they go into the military, don't you think it would be safer not to allow them to go in? Okay? Just saying, just throwing it out there. Okay? Now, you can click on that story on Liberty and Freedom Network. Change on veterans' gun rights lights fire. Okay? It's just something that it's something that we really need to look at. And it's not just former military. It's not military coming back. It's not. There's a lot of people out there who have a mental disorder. There's a reason why I emphasize that. It's not an illness. It's a disorder. It's not a disease. It's a disorder. I've studied it. Trust me. But your DSM-4 and DSM-5 is going to say that it's a disease. It's an illness. No, it's not. Okay? That DSM-4 and 5 are all pieces of crap, and former members of the APA, the American Psychiatric Association, former members of that organization will tell you straight up that the DSM-4 and the DSM-5 are, every single thing in there is all bullcrap and made up. Go to the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. You'll get tons of information about mental illness, what they classify being a mental disorder, and what doctors have done in terms of abuse of their patients and all this, that, and other thing. So that's the other side of that coin. I would even think that it is an abuse and pretty much abusive when you tell a former, or a military person who got out that they can't have, a way to protect themselves or their families. I believe that's abuse. And the government, Washington, D.C., is enabling, another psychological term, they're enabling these people to be more stressed and find other ways of protecting their families. So let's get down to the bottom of this, shall we? Because I really think we need to. I don't know about you, but I think we need to. We're going to go to break. Bottom of the hour, we shall return. This is the 4th of December 2012. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. You're listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. From family to friends in everyday life, he sees it for what it is. He'll tell you his views on family, politics, and what's in the news. From the world around him, he discusses many issues. Come listen to The Brian Keller Show right here on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Hello. This is the 4th of December, 2012. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Thank you for joining me today. If you're in the chat room, say hi. Yep, so anyway, hello. We are here. We are alive. We are alive! Oh, yes. Yeah, go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Like the page. Follow me there. Thank you very much. Email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. I want to give a shout out to Angel Clark of The Angel Clark Show. She was on the show last Friday. The sound is a little fuzzy and staticky, but I think that had something to do with the Skype connection. And her show is at radiofreedom.us, The Angel Clark Show, 5 to 7 Eastern. 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's a very good show. Very good show. So thank you, Angel Clark. Also want to give a shout out to the one and only Mr. Michael Vera over at LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Go check out his show Monday through Friday. Monday, I think. I hear him on the weekends too, so he might be working 7 days a week. I don't know. But Late Night in the Midlands with your host Michael Vera over there at LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check out this article. You'll see it. Says animal rights activists want NRA labeled domestic terrorist group. Paul Joseph Watson yesterday posted this on Infowars.com. Petition asks Obama administration to target hunting rights. Animal rights activists have launched a petition demanding that the Obama White House declare the National Rifle Association to be a domestic terrorist group while decimating, that's the word, the ability of the Americans to exercise their hunting rights. The petition, which features on the We the People section of the WhiteHouse.gov website, states, quote, groups like Lobo Watch, Big Game Forever, Idaho Anti-Wolf Coalition, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, NRA, Safari Club, etc., are a menace in our midst. Not only do many of them want our native predators like bear, wolves, and wildcats and the like, decimated to the brink of extinction, but some of them have the nerve to harass, threaten, and downright intimidate anybody who dares to oppose them, even the government. If there's anybody out there from Lobo Watch, Big Game Forever, Idaho Anti-Wolf Coalition, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, NRA, or Safari Club, or any number of groups that have heard about this, please email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. In the subject line, put animal rights activists labeled NRA domestic terrorist group, or regarding animal rights, domestic terrorists, that kind of thing. Just email me. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Let me go on with the article. It also says, and I quote, and they've got some powerful people in their corner too. They throw their mammoth monetary weight around and think they can buy their way into power in America and put down anyone who's got a backbone and might provide resistance. It's time to put these groups in their place and strike them down. Time to protect our carnivorous wildlife from those who seek to decimate them, unquote. Folks, let me interject something here. Do you not think that the animal rights activists have just now threatened the NRA? It's time to put these groups in their place and strike them down. To me, that is a threat. NRA, National Rifle Association, you better step up and hold these animal rights activists responsible for what they say. Let me say it again. They said, and they've got, this is animal rights activists, quote, it's on, by the way, it's on the whitehouse.gov website, quote, and they've got some powerful friends in their corners too. They throw their mammoth monetary weight around, that's a jab, and think they can buy their way into power in America and put down anyone who's got a backbone and might provide resistance. That's another jab. Here's the threat. It's time to put these groups in their place and strike them down. There's the threat from the animal activist groups. And they continue. Time to protect our carnivorous wildlife from those who seek to decimate them, unquote. The petition is being promoted by numerous animal rights activists on social networks like Twitter and Facebook. The NRA is an ardent supporter of hunting rights, running a website devoted to the issue and regularly promoting hunting as a, quote, vital part of American culture, unquote, and a cornerstone of the Second Amendment. According to an NRA fact sheet on hunting, quote, the efforts of hunters as conservationists over the last century have restored America's game populations and enhanced the habitat of numerous wildlife species, unquote. The document cites polls that consistently show a clear majority of Americans support hunting. Quote, if we can't have the common decency to live and let live, we are a waste of space and it's time to get off the earth, wrote George Sequoia in support of the petition. Quote, exactly right. These evil, non-soul humans are terrorists needing to be gone, unquote, added Jacqueline Conquest. Probably not their real names. The petition currently has 458 signatures and is a long way short of the 25,000 required to receive an official response. from the White House, as if they're going to respond. The NRA has not been short of publicity in the last couple of days. After NBC Sports anchor Bob Costas blamed Jovan Belcher's murder-suicide on the, quote, gun culture, unquote, Kansas City sports writer Jason Whitlock went further, claiming that, quote, the NRA is the new KKK, unquote, because they are, quote, arming black youths, unquote, and, quote, loading up our community with drugs and then just having an open shooting gallery, unquote. I know, it's like sound bites, right? There's a link there, Infowars.com/animal rights activists want NRA labeled domestic terrorist group. You can go find the exact quotes. You can go find the complete story. You can go to YouTube and put under Kansas City sports writer Jason Whitlock or NBC News anchor Bob Costas and get the actual video of what they've said if you would like. And one of the comments here from Gun Owners of America here on the article, gunowners.org, says ATF declaring war on honest gun owners. Gun Owners of America. Another commenter here on the picture said the right to keep and bear arms is not the Second Amendment. It is what it is about. Quote, a well-armed, regulated militia being necessary for the security of a state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, unquote, is the Second Amendment. To keep your rights, you need to know your rights. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting and everything to do with fighting government oppression. That commenter is right. The British wanted to disarm the early Americans for the exact same reason that Barry is wanting to do it now. It is easy to take everything from an unarmed person and not easy from an armed country. He wants to ban your guns by saying you only need a hunting weapon and not anything you deem necessary for protection. To define oneself, you need access to the same weaponry as your enemy. Why do you think countries compete to have the best weaponry possible? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, is the Second Amendment. Just look at what the government did to the Native Americans. Mostly all the natives had was what the early Americans used for hunting, as compared to what the U.S. Army used against them. I guess history does keep repeating itself. Yeah. Let me ask you this, or let me tell you this. Take a knife to a gunfight. Who's going to win? Just saying. Just saying. Cruise on down to Liberty and Freedom Network and scroll on down and look at everything going on there and check things out. How about this one from theblaze.com? Theblaze.com. Say what you want about Glenn Beck, but he's got researchers and himself finding things that others don't. There are some other hosts that I know should take a page out of Glenn Beck's book of investigation and research. Just saying. From theblaze.com, click on the link there on Liberty and Freedom Network. Jason Howerton wrote this. Cops want Congress to force wireless providers to store at least 2 years of your private text messages in case they need them later. Let me read that again just so you get the point. Cops want Congress to force wireless providers to store at least 2 years of your private text messages in case they need them later. Jason writes, a number of law enforcement agencies across the country are asking Congress to force AT&T, Verizon Wireless, Sprint, and other wireless providers to record and store Americans' private text messages for at least 2 years in case they need the information for future investigations. Those same law enforcement agencies claim that the absence of such a federal requirement can, quote, hinder law enforcement investigations, unquote. CNET reports that, quote, a constellation of law enforcement groups, unquote, want the U.S. Senate to consider the SMS retention requirement when Congress discusses updating the 1986 privacy law for today's technology. By the way, it's already in the Telecommunications Act of 1996. They just have to update that. Let's stop them from doing so, shall we? The push by law enforcement to gain access to even more of Americans' private information will undoubtedly infuriate privacy advocates. CNET has more details. As the popularity of text messages has exploded in recent years, so has their use in criminal investigations and civil lawsuits. They have been introduced as evidence in armed robbery, cocaine distribution, and wire fraud prosecutions. In one 2009 case in Michigan, wireless provider SkyTel turned over the contents of 626,638 SMS messages, a figure described by a federal judge as staggering. Chuck DeWitt, a spokesman for the Major City Chiefs Police Association, which represents the 63 largest U.S. police forces, including New York City, Los Angeles, Miami, and Chicago, said, quote, all such records should be retained for 2 years, unquote. Some providers like Verizon retain the contents of SMS messages for a brief period of time, while others like T-Mobile do not store them at all. Along with the Police Association, other law enforcement groups making the request to the Senate include the National District Attorneys Association, kind of weird that their initials are NDAA, and the National Sheriff's Association and the Association of State Criminal Investigative Agencies, DeWitt said. Quote, the issue is not addressed in the current proposal before the committee, and yet it will become even more important in the future, unquote, the groups warn. The quote-unquote committee mentioned in the Senate Judiciary Committee, which okayed a number of amendments to the Electronic Communications Privacy Act last week that actually protected Americans' privacy. Get that? The committee, quote-unquote, it's in quotes, mentioned is the Senate Judiciary Committee, which okayed a number of amendments to the Electronic Communications Privacy Act last week that actually protected Americans' privacy. The law enforcement proposal does not necessarily indicate whether the contents of the text messages would be stored or just the metadata, like the sender and receiver phone numbers. Forrester Research reports that more than 2 trillion SMS messages were sent in the U.S. last year. Folks, you're being monitored. And if they're listening to this now, the people, whoever is listening to this, the NSA, whatever, they are the stupidest people on the face of the planet. And whatever plans they have will be thwarted by the majority of the American people, period. And if Congress does not get up off of their ass and start fighting the president, use that term loosely, and telling the president enough is enough, then we lose, folks. We lose big time. Okay? Now, I have just an opinion, a speculation, if you will. After the inauguration next year, January 20th, if we survive December 31st, 17 days from now, I have a distinct feeling, I'm speculating here, I have a distinct feeling that it might come to this. Sorry, had to get some water. Congress, the majority of Congress will vote more power, vote to give more power to the president in the executive branch. And there will be absolutely no way that the GOP or the Republicans, let's say, will have any way of countering that. Because certain things are being put into place right now to push those people to the sidelines. And the Democrats and all those, and there are Republicans who want the president to have the power as well. So I'm not talking Democrat, Republican. I'm talking people, human beings. There's going to be a vast majority of Congress, both the Senate and the House, Democrat and Republican, doesn't matter, that will insist on giving the president more power. And those who oppose them will be pushed to the side and say, go to the corner, you're out of here. Certain things are being put into place right now for that to happen. I wouldn't doubt, again speculating, I wouldn't doubt at all that something were to happen, a false flag event maybe, where the president would have no other choice but to declare a national emergency and suspend the Constitution. Well, he's already virtually gutted it when he signed the NDAA on December 31st, 2011. And now he's got a new one, 2013, which has been enhanced to literally give the power of the military to detain you and I. Oh, you're one of those patriots. You're one of those, we're going to come get you and throw you into FEMA camp. That's what's going to happen. Okay? Now, regardless of what you believe or what you accept or what you've seen or whatever, is going on in your head, get rid of those preconceived ideas that you have. You live in complete and utter denial of these things. Oh, our government wouldn't do that. Let me tell you something. As I turn on the light, I remember back in 1983, my mother and I were talking and we were discussing things, and I knew, because I had just read an article back at that time, that I wasn't going to have Social Security or whatever when I reached 65. It was going to not be there for me. And my mom said, no, that's ridiculous. I said, well, why do you say that, Mom? She goes, well, they owe it to you. It's the law. They have to give it to you. I looked at my mother and I said, they don't owe me squat, Mom. Well, you paid into it. They have to give it to you. No, they don't. And it was shortly after that, about a year or two after that, that I found out that, yeah, our government's been borrowing money from our enemies, China, for many, many years. Because of the agreement that we made with Saudi Arabia for the oil and the payment of that oil being on the reserve, I want to say the reserve note, but that's not it, of the American dollar, which literally sucked it down the black hole and it became worthless, or started to become worthless. Then we had to go elsewhere to get our products. This was in the 80s, folks. I remember this stuff. Okay? We seem to forget. We seem to forget that history does repeat itself. We seem to forget that. We also seem to forget that we're not perfect. Each individual, each citizen of the United States of America is not perfect. We do have our flaws. And by the way, I know this from just watching mainstream media. Everybody has a price. But when you're living in a free and sovereign society where we have the freedom to speak our minds, where we have the freedom to carry guns, where we have the freedom to go wherever we want to go, and there's others that want to suppress that and limit our access to everything that we consider to be our right to have, that's when we need to stand up and say, enough is enough. We're not perfect by any means. And our struggles only mean that we're working to better ourselves. But now it's time to tell the federal government, Washington, D.C., either back off or face the wrath of the American people. Because I guarantee you, you don't want to piss us off. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 4th of December 2012. You're listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Do you want liberty-minded radio? There's no other straightforward radio you will ever hear than The Angel Clark Show. Join Angel Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at www.radiofreedom.us. That's The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at radiofreedom.us. Listen to the Sandy Fox Show, playing a variety of music including rock, pop, and country. The Sandy Fox Show is a production of the Force Radio Network. You can find her and all of the great FRN shows on Spreaker.com, Icedcast.org, and by searching for Force Internet Radio on TuneIn.com. You can also find great mobile apps on TuneIn.com to take the live shows and replays with you. The Force Radio Network. Real radio for real people. want more entertainment value than your dollar can buy you at the movies? Listen to the Chris Top Program on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host Michael Long. This show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a journey into light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/EastlandFilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Here we are, Tuesday the 4th of December 2012. You're listening to The Views Expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Thank you for joining me tonight, today, wherever you are, whatever time it is over there. We're usually here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. You can go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, like the page, follow me there. If you have articles that you want to put up there, you can do the same thing too. Just pop them up there. You know. join the page. Our website is freeamericaradio.wix, that's wix.com/the views expressed. On the right-hand side of the page, there's a book that I wrote, just my observations of things going on in the world and some solutions. And that's there for sale. And, of course, on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a tab that says Store. You can go there and promote Liberty and Freedom Network and also promote your patriotism as well. And also down at the bottom left-hand corner of the website, you'll see a donate button. This is listener-supported online radio, so your support is very much appreciated. And all it does is keep the website up and the show going. So promote your patriotism and spread the word about the show, The Views Expressed, and Liberty and Freedom Network. I broadcast on Spreaker Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I am here for your educational and enlightenment purposes. I think I said that right. My English teacher would probably be rolling over in her grave at this point. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. That's where I am. Click on the picture. It has a lot of words on it. It says the only times we hear of anarchism in the mainstream is when a government is trying to put them in jail. Government-sponsored terrorists kill people in the name of anarchism, or people break into a private stolen property. The rest of the time they're being censored or murdered. Hitler, Stalin, Franco, Napoleon did the same thing. It's called fascism. That's pretty much it, folks, right there. Another picture from Ian Williams Goddard said, and I quote, "A society whose citizens refuse to see and investigate the facts, who refuse to believe that their government and their media will routinely lie to them and fabricate a reality contrary to verifiable facts, is a society that chooses and deserves the police state dictatorship it's going to get." That's Ian Williams Goddard. Okay? Scroll on down. Government orders YouTube to censor protest videos. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? We have... there we go. Isn't that lovely? We have... If I glitched there, if I got silent for I don't know how long, please let me know. If you're listening, drop in the chat room and let me know. Or email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. I hope you heard that. Government orders YouTube to censor protest videos. How's that? How's that? Well, let's read. I'll read the article to you and you figure it out. In a frightening example on how the state is tightening its grip around the free internet, it has emerged that YouTube is complying with thousands of requests from governments to censor and remove videos that show protest and other examples of citizens simply asserting their rights, while also deleting search terms by government mandate. The latest example is a YouTube compliance with a request from the British government to censor footage of the British Constitution group Lawful Rebellion protests, during which they attempted to civilly arrest Judge Michael Peake in Birkenhead County Court. Peake was ruling on a case involving Roger Hayes, former member of UKIP, who has refused to pay council tax, both as a protest against the government's treasonous activities in sacrificing Britain to globalist interests, and as a result of Hayes clearly proving that council tax is illegal. Hayes has embarked on an effort to legally prove that the enforced collection of council tax by government is unlawful because no contract has been agreed between the individual and the state. His argument is based on the his argument is based on the sound legal principle that just like the council, Hayes can represent himself as a third party in the court, and that Roger Hayes is a corporation and must be treated as one in the eyes of the law. Point being is this. He is representing himself in a case that literally reflects a lot of the things that people here in the U.S. do. And probably for the same reasons. There is no contract between the American citizens and the IRS. There is no contract between the United States government, Washington, D.C., and the citizens of the United States of America. Therefore, there have been people in the past arguing, and some actually winning in court, that they don't have to pay taxes. It is illegal. Okay? And they prove it. Like I said, some have won, some have not. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, in an interview last year or so, told the interviewer, they were talking taxes, and the interviewer asked him about voluntary taxes. Isn't taxes voluntary? The gist of the question was that from the interviewer. Harry Reid, Senate Majority Leader, Democrat of Nevada, said, yes, they're voluntary. He said it. The interviewer said, then why are people going to jail for not paying taxes? Because you have to pay them. It's the law. But it's voluntary, the interviewer asked. And Harry Reid tripped over his own tongue trying to justify his answer by some bullcrap that isn't true. Yes, we do have to pay taxes. But no. Yes, we have to pay them. Yes, it's voluntary. But no, the government cannot make us or force us to pay taxes. Okay? I'm not a legal scholar, so that is my opinion based upon what I know. So if you're an attorney out there, go ahead and email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. I would love to know. I seriously would love to know. Now, if, I'm just going to throw this out here, is if you and I and over 200 million Americans stood up, yelled at Washington, D.C. and the IRS and the Federal Reserve and said, we're not paying any more taxes, do you think they can arrest all of us? Really? Do you think they can take us all to prison? Because if debtor prison was done away with years ago, then why is it we go to prison for not voluntarily paying our taxes? Hello, Wesley Snipes, and many others. Why is it we are held responsible to pay for the bills of the United States of America? And when I say bills, I use that term loosely because our tax dollars go to pay the elites overseas and our offshore banking interests that control the United States of America and have bought Washington, D.C. and all of the politicians. Go look it up. I know that's a lot to remember. Y'all like to do puzzles. You can just lay the puzzle out there. You can put it together. It's going to look like the picture on the front of the box if you figure it out. Okay? Now, a lot of people would say, well, you're talking conspiracy theory. Is the government conspiring against us? Yes. And yes. But, let me clarify. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Go look it up. Any attorneys out there want to jump on board, you can email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Send me all the information you have. I'd like to get a pro bono attorney that would help me out because I really want to sit down and find out all this stuff. But from what I know, taxes are voluntary. We don't have to pay the enormous rates that we do. They can be cut in half, and the government, Washington, D.C., and all of those departments up there would still have enough money to pay for the operation of the country, including Obamacare. But most states are opting out of Obamacare. So please email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. In the subject line, put radio show, so I know it's from you. Okay? So anyway, go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. We'll jam in another article before the bottom of the hour break. Oh, by the way, you've heard, I've said it, Alex Jones has said it, many others have said it. Go to awarenessact.com. There's a picture of sodium fluoride on the Liberty and Freedom Network Facebook page. This is why you don't care. Okay? I want to say this, and I'm going to make it perfectly clear. We got poison in the water, period. End of sentence. There is poison in the water. Okay? A lot of dentists, oh, well, it's good for you. So let's do this. Some of the commenters in there are having a heyday commenting on this picture. From the Ness. That's right. THENESS.com. There's a link in there in the comments. A news article in the Sacramento Bee declares Harvard study finds fluoride lowers IQ, published in Federal Government Journal. Except, this is not a news item. It's not really a study. The article is about recently published systematic review and meta-analysis, not new data. The term study is vague, and the writer here, Stephen Novella, says he finds it often causes confusion. Now, if he says, well, I'm not even going to read it. You go check it out. It's in the comments of the picture. Just click on the picture, go to the right-hand side. You'll see a whole bunch of comments. Just keep going. It's from Sheldon Smoochie. And he says, listening to Alex Jones doesn't count as being informed. He's a frickin' idiot. And right below it, Chris Rush says, I work in dentistry and all this is a hoax. Okay, Mr. Chris Russ, I don't know if you listen to this or whatever. Why don't you prove it? Matter of fact, I'll just put out the challenge myself. I won't even call on these people. Okay? If anyone can prove, definitively prove, that fluoride in the water is not causing the problems that it causes or that other articles are saying it causes, prove it. I'm done listening to anybody counter me or contradict me in any way, shape, or form. Don't like it? Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. I say it twice because you'll probably go, what was that address? So from now on, anytime that anybody has anything to say against whatever I'm saying, prove it. I'm done with you. Prove it. I don't want to hear you yapping your lips just because you want to hear yourself talk and think you're all that. Prove it to me, period. End of sentence. That's it. Done. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. So anyway, let's move on, shall we? Cruising on down, independence forever. Don't ratify the UN Disabilities Treaty. I don't know why I put that up there twice, but I did. The UN is just getting way too much into American politics. Way too much. Okay? Way too much. I don't know what the heck's going on with my speakers. I hear something coming out of them, and it's not me. Try this. Internet hangs in the balance as world governments meet in secret, from Wired magazine. There's a lot of sky is falling doomsday predictions about the World Conference on the International Telecommunications, which opens Monday in Dubai with some 190 plus nations discussing the global internet's future. That's because much of the accompanying proposals from the global community have been kept under lock and key, although some of the positions of nations have been leaked and published online. The idea behind the meetings is to update the international telecommunications regulations governed by the International Telecommunications Union, a United Nations agency known as the ITU, that is responsible for global communication technology. But the outcome of the 2-week session isn't likely to make much change, as no proposal will be accepted if not agreed to by all nations. And the biggest fear? That the session will lead to net censorship has already come to pass. Quote, member states already have the right, as stated in Article 34 of the Constitution of the ITU, to block any private telecommunications that appear, quote, dangerous to the security of the state or contrary to its laws, to public order, or to decency, unquote. The treaty regulations cannot override the Constitution, unquote, said Hamadoun Touré, the ITU Secretary General. Emma Lanzo, a policy, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, sorry Emma, a policy attorney with the Center for Democracy and Technology, said proposals by various governments to treat internet connections like the telephone system are cause for concern regarding privacy and the unfettered free flow of information. But there is a quote-unquote doomsday internet kill switch scenario, she said. Quote, there's not going to be some kind of doomsday scenario that there's a treaty that makes the internet go dark. What we're seeing is governments putting forward visions of the internet and having discussions, unquote. The last time the ITU, or I should say, the last time the International Telecommunications Regulation Global Treaty was considered was in 1988, but technology has changed dramatically in the past 25 years. Lanzo said termination fees, which would obviously be paid by paid for by consumers, also opens the door to more internet monitoring. Quote, you could always read it as a campaign, unquote, she said, quote, to make all internet communications more traceable and more trackable, invading users' privacy, unquote. Now, I got to tell you, I just want to be straight up with all of you. Why in the hell are you people sitting around doing squat? Okay? Why? 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 Because you are scared and you wimp out at the first sign of any opposition that's wearing a badge. That's why. I don't want to be inconvenienced. Really? Okay. You don't like being inconvenienced. How you like the black-suited, jackbooted stormtroopers knocking down your door, yelling at you when they come in, grabbing you, putting you in a truck, and hauling you off to a camp somewhere. With barbed wire and guards. Yeah, it's going to happen, folks. Last year, MTV had 2 commercials showing just that. Go look it up. Go to YouTube. MTV FEMA camp commercial. Just put that in there. MTV FEMA camp commercial. Internment camp commercial. However you want to term it. It's crazy. Bottom of the hour break. Not going to be long, folks. Just a couple of minutes. All right. You can email me here at the network at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Go to the website, freeamericaradio.wix.com/theviewsexpressed for more information. Views Expressed is Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, A desk clerk has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. From family to friends in everyday life, he sees it for what it is. He'll tell you his views on family, politics, and what's in the news. From the world around him, he discusses many issues. Come listen to The Brian Keller Show right here on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 4th of December, 2012. Glad you made it. Glad you hung out with me today. Appreciate that. You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. I do not have a view of the ocean. I don't have a view of anybody's, building next to me. I have a nice view of Janusquagus Nugget out my window. And there's a lot of good things going on over there as well. JANugget.com. Just wanted to throw that out there. They don't sponsor me. I'm just giving a shout out. That's all I do. Like Samo Radio. Yeah, go check out the 5 o'clock drive, man. Cool. Anyway, Just like I like to mention the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west. It's, it's just one of those things, There's been riots all over Egypt. There's been chemtrails. CIA and NSA involved, says Swedish official from LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Everyone in the U.S. under virtual surveillance, the NSA, by NSA, and more news. Let's read that one for the end of the night, shall we? From RTR.org. Says, Happy Tuesday from your friends at Restore the Republic. We've got quite a lot of developing stories, reports to share in today's newsletter from all corners of the liberty movement. There's videos of Has the Time Come to Secede? And, of course, the IRS, the Federal Reserve Bank, and the income tax. I talked about the income tax earlier. Police detective wants more cop watch. Ben Swan, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton needs taxpayer money for propaganda. Massachusetts School of Law, chemtrails poisoning the planet. The NFL helping Obama ban guns. Boycott now. Alex Jones talked about that today as well. Pentagon's new spying agency to rival CIA. Iran captures U.S. drone in its airspace. Oops. Now other countries have drones. Police drone demo leads to shooting match with residents. Dr. Nick Begich, the technologies of mind control. I can go down the whole list of things that RTR, Restore the Republic, have in their newsletter. But I got to tell you, if you go outside and look straight up and you see, crisscrossy little lines in the sky, those aren't clouds, folks. Those are chemtrails. Hello, there's a difference. Those are not contrails, folks. They're chemtrails. Contrails last anywhere between 25 to 35 seconds after they leave the back of the plane. Chemtrails do not fade out. They disperse. And they widen out. Okay? Go look it up. And don't give me this crap. I'm done with you people telling me, those are contrails. Get your head out of your ass, Bubba. Figure it out. My mama didn't raise no fool. Did yours? I'm just saying. Just saying. Okay? By the way, you'll see up there on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, the censorship of the web begins. From torrent, I believe, if I don't have the actual, isohunt.com, I believe is what it is, isohunt.com, and it says, torrent has been censored as required by U.S. court. The censorship begins. Just saying. A free and open world depends on a free and open web. Google.com, take action. The picture says people around the world are standing up for freedom. I believe that. There's 8 comments to that picture. United We Rise, with a Z, R-I-Z-E. UnitedWeRise.com. There's people fighting corruption in the ocean? Somebody else said, America looks colorful. Somebody else said they are probably little tiny islands or something, addressing the United We Rise one. I think he was being sarcastic. I'm not quite sure. Someone else said attitude, not just clicking. And yes, in America, the U.S. looks as colorful as Mexico does. Also in America, as Brazil and Argentina also are colorful too. And what the F do the rings mean? This says nothing. The rings are I think it's 2.8 million people per ring or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what it all means. It just says people around the world are standing up for freedom. We do need a free and open internet, period, end of sentence. We need to get rid of the UN's ability to shut down the internet. Censor the internet. We need to get rid of the ability of the president to use the kill switch on the internet. We need to stop it now, period, end of sentence. And if you people don't have the balls to do it, hey, welcome to the surveillance grid. Somebody's going to say, well, we've been surveilled for many, many years. What about the cameras on the stoplights, on the light poles over the stoplights? Yeah, I remember when they went in Stockton, California when I was a kid. I remember that. And I told my parents then, they're surveilling us. Oh, no, that's for traffic. Really? Really? And giving you smaller portions of food is for diet? That might be a bad example, but they're surveilling you everywhere, okay? Everywhere. You know, I can go down here to, I do have one of the tracking systems in my hot little hand now. And it says right here, location services. Let me read you this, shall I? Google's location service lets apps use data from sources such as Wi-Fi and mobile networks to determine your approximate location. GPS satellites lets apps use GPS to pinpoint your location. Location and Google search let Google use your location to improve search results and other services. Right then and there, folks. Okay? Right then and there. Now, if you keep saying, well, you know, we need to be surveilled. Somebody told me earlier today that if it wasn't for the police and the feds looking at the emails and the text messages of a former Detroit mayor, he wouldn't be in jail right now. Hey, you can kick that up a notch. Bam. Go to the former CIA director, David Petraeus. The FBI was surveilling his emails. Probably his text messages, too. So don't tell me you're not under surveillance. You're under surveillance 24 hours a day. Don't like it? You're the only one that can do something about it. You and, I don't know, about 150 million other people. Folks, I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a communist fascist state. I don't want to live under a dictator. I like my freedoms. I like my liberty. I agree with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, some people say they were bad presidents, but let me tell you something. We wouldn't be free today if it wasn't for 1861 and 1773 and the fight for our independence from British monarchy and rule. Okay? And then we got pissed off because somebody started, saying stuff about secession back in 1860s, 1858, 1859. And then, look back in history. We had two presidents on this continent. Jefferson Davis in the South, Abraham Lincoln in the North. A couple of things. I do believe that if you check history and you dig, you will find that John Wilkes Booth was a Southern sympathizer and probably worked for somebody who the Confederate President Jefferson Davis had hired. Are you saying that he had President Lincoln assassinated? I'm not saying that. I make no claim to that. But if you look at history and put two and two together, you draw your own conclusion. Okay? Hell, I had 3 members of my family in the Union Army. So no, I don't want to hear any more about it. Again, I'm going to make this clear. Anybody that contradicts anything that I say, and putting up videos and sending me articles and all this, and saying, oh, this here proves it. Really? Let me draw my own conclusion on it, okay? Let me do my own investigation. Just send me the articles. Send me the videos. I don't know. Let me look into this myself. Don't tell me what I have to think, because I will shove it back in your face. And I will prove you wrong at every given level. Okay? But let me be perfectly and honestly and transparently clear. I don't know everything, okay? I'll be the first in line to admit I am wrong. Because I don't know everything. And if you think you know everything about this and that, and you're going to expose this person or that person, I said that in an earlier podcast today. You know what? At the end of the day, when you didn't accomplish one damn thing that you set out to do to expose somebody else, you're going to look like the biggest fool around. Ronald McDonald's going to be laughing at you. So don't even think that you can even step up to the plate in the game that we play here. Because let me clarify one last thing. We shouldn't be looking at one another and saying, oh, you're this and you're connected here and you're that and blah, 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 blah. No. Shut your pie hole. Here's what we need to be doing. Look at the enemy coming at us in hordes of people trying to take away our liberties and freedoms. So instead of 2 people fighting, right? Instead of you and I or other people arguing as to who has better information and all this, that, and the other thing, shut your damn pie hole and look at the enemy coming at us from Washington, D.C., and from the UN, and from the Bilderberg Group, and from the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say they don't have any connections. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Why don't you go back, check your history, go and investigate that, okay? The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers funded both sides of World War I and World War II. Go check it out. They even paid money to certain intelligence organizations to set up Khrushchev, to set up Hitler, and moving up a few years, setting up Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. So don't give me any more crap. And if you want to contradict me, you better have absolute proof right there to prove me wrong. And don't sit there and say, no, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. You have to prove it to yourself, don't you? Then you're wrong. Because if you want the information to be correct and to be right, you have to prove it to yourself first. Do you not? It's called common sense and logic. Hello, did you throw that out at the beginning of the day? So anyway, sorry I'm ranting. I hate the New World Order with a passion. I hate these people that want to take my freedoms and liberties away. And guess what? They're not. They're going to lose. And if in some spiritual way they don't get hit in the back of the head with a spiritual 2x4 to wake their asses up, then folks, it's going to be you and I. And don't even think about taking them to court, because they got them puppies wrapped up and shoved into their pocket. Okay? I'm a no-holds-barred show, folks. Again, I just want to throw this, I'm going to put this out here. I thank you, Angel Clark, for being on the show. Go check her show out, The Angel Clark Show, radiofreedom.us, 5 to 7 Eastern, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. But she puts up the podcast on Spreaker.com. Go check out The Angel Clark Show, the podcasts of her shows on Spreaker.com. Great shows, great guests. Go check it out. So in closing, I want to be very, very specific before I go to this very short break. I don't like people that call me a liar, and I don't like people that contradict me and tell me I'm wrong. So from now on, my word to you is this. Prove yourself right. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. Just means that, hey, you got the information now. Go check it out yourself. Go figure it out. If you say I'm wrong, you must have something to prove yourself right. Must you not? I know bad grammar. My grammar teacher is, my English teacher is rolling over in her grave. I know this. Folks, it's always a pleasure to come to you. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to get your emails, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. If you happen to be in the chat room on the live broadcast, please say hi. Thank you very much. This is the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. We are here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com. Go to our webpage, freeamericaradio.wix.com/the views expressed. I'm back. How y'all doing? Email us, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Hey, it is always a pleasure to come to you and to hopefully enlighten you and wake you up to the fallacy that we have freedom in this country. The United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights have been utterly, or I should say virtually, gutted on December 31st, 2011 by President Obama's, signature, making it law. But now the new one will definitely and indefinitely detain American citizens for opposition to what the government is doing, period. Go look it up. 2013 National Defense Authorization Act. Again, been a pleasure to be here with you on this Tuesday, the 4th of December, 2012. Email us at Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, like the page, join us there. I put up articles all the time, so go check it out. We'll be here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Remember this, we the people have the power, for we are America.